Sometimes I think we got to ask ourselves that question: do we want to stay on the shallow side of life or move to the deep end of life in which God becomes our only lifeguard?
Willing to be yourself in the sight of people, no matter what people think. I think that's what it's all about. So today I want to talk about the pros and cons of brokerage and trucking. Now let's jump straight into this video. Welcome back to this channel. Make sure you like, you comment, and you smash that like button, because we still hold one of the most valuable things, which is a CDL. But you got to understand, you got to be elevating your mind and elevating your level of thinking if you ever want to run a company, if you ever want to go to the next level in anything you do in your life. So y'all stay tuned for this video, and I hope I can add value in any way. So first things first, let's admire the beautiful background that I'm in, because it's truly a blessing. But we're going to jump straight into it. So we're going to talk about two pros and two cons of brokerage versus trucking. Me coming from driving a truck a couple months ago to being in the operations of the brokerage side. So listen, two pros, or we're going to do one pro each first, and then one con, and then another pro, so forth, so on. So listen, one pro I'm going to say of trucking, we're going to start off with trucking, is that you make more money. Now, I know that's like simplistic, right? Like, pro of trucking is that you make more money. But one con of trucking is that you got to use all your time. Okay, so we got, you make more money in trucking, but you use all your time. So if you somebody that want more time with your family, you want more time to enjoy life, you want more time to go on vacation. In trucking, you got the money, but you don't got the time. Pro, con right there. Now let's break down that. So from my perspective, having more money is always a good thing. Because what does it do? It allows you to buy more things. It allows you to go more places. But a con of having more money in that sense is that you have more bills. The more money you make in a trucking company, the more you got to spend to sustain it. Those are just, simple principles that it takes when you're making more money. The more money that you make, the more you got the opportunity to spend, or the more bills you got to accumulate. Now let's think about this from another perspective of, without money, you can't have the luxurious things in life. You can't live the lifestyle you want to live. You can't scale. You can't go out there and accumulate more assets or things like that if you don't have the money. So, it's a pro and con, but that's trucking. Now, let's think about one pro and one con to brokerage. One pro I would say in brokerage is that brokerage can literally be the simplest business. Why? Because literally you're like the middleman. You aren't really physically using your time to distribute nothing. You can build one relationship, and that one relationship could stem and allow you to make thousands of dollars because you know how to use the skill of communication. So that's a pro of brokerage. But a con of brokerage is actually, since you're in the middle, you don't actually know what could be going on, whether the freight is actually good, whether the shipper or receiver is actually good places to pick up at, whether, it's actually good freight, or whether the rate that they're paying is actually a good rate for the area or the miles a trucker got to drive. So you aren't actually in control to see if a trucker is actually honestly delivering this, or if the freight is actually good freight. So it's like both. A trucker could screw you over in the sense of falsifying delivering freight, and a freight broker could, screw you over in the sense of just being a terrible company that actually doesn't have real freight to be delivered. So both hold pros and cons. Now let's think about this. Where does the real leverage work when you talk about a brokerage versus a trucker? A trucker needs a broker needs a trucker. A trucker can't deliver anything without somebody brokering them and talking to somebody or a company on their behalf. A broker can't leverage their relationships without a trucker. So both goes hand in hand, but I'm gonna tell you, which one do I prefer? I prefer what I'm doing right now in the stage of my life. I think since life is seasonal, time is seasonal, monetary value is seasonal, and I think this goes for anybody who's thinking about trucking or brokerage or anything like that, because it's all in trucking. But having a CDL places you in the sense of where you can hop into trucking at any season that you like. The thing about brokerage that I like so much, that I'm glad that God has blessed me to get this skill set, is that now I have relationships, because if I have a truck and I have relationships with shippers or receivers, in a sense, I can leverage that to grow, to scale. So there's many pros and cons, but you need both. Now let's talk about another pro and con. When you talk about brokerage, a con of brokerage is less money. Why is a con of brokerage less money? In a sense, if you're doing it on the behalf of a corporate company or a mega company, because you just don't know how to utilize your contacts yet as a single, single broker, I'll say. You make less money because initially you're trying to establish relationships and not make yourself look greedy so that you could establish some type of foundation to get carriers to want to run the freight that you have with the shipper or receiver. So you don't make the same money you make in trucking and brokerage, especially to start off. It's way less money, but a pro of brokerage is you got more time. So you can get your work done, or you can scale up in brokerage in less time than you can scale up in trucking if you're a self-employed truck driver. And I think a lot of times where, before I jump into a pro kind of trucking, where a lot of individuals in trucking go is you can get used to, and even for me when I was transitioning to this, you can get used to the trucking money so much that you forget that if you stop putting your time into trucking as a single truck driver, how can you get this same money in less time? By doing something different. So wear and tear your body down in trucking, you wear and tear your brain down, because we know that in trucking, your brain got to be constantly moving, you got to be constantly looking. In brokerage, less time, and once you build relationships, you can scale up to the same amount of money. I want y'all to really understand this, because not everybody likes to drive a truck. Most people just want the money in trucking. So figure out how I can still be in trucking from a different capacity, and I think that's very smart. So now let's talk about a pro and con in a sense of trucking. So I already gave y'all one pro and con of trucking. Now I'm gonna give you another pro and con of trucking. Is the simple fact to, I would say a con is that the industry is continuously changing, so you got to be continuously evolving. You can't get stuck at the same level. You can't have the same level of knowledge that you had about your company, your truck, as you did before. And another con I would say of trucking is actually, because it's equipment breaks down, equipment wears and tears, equipment gives out, which means that there's truly no stability in trucking or being a single trucker or trucking company. Equipment fails. You can have a 2022, you can have a 2021, you can have a 2002. Equipment fails. There's no stability in a business model with equipment only. That's why having several components as a company is huge. Because having equipment only, once your equipment go down, your business go down. But a pro of this is that since trucking is such a necessity in this world, and it always will be in a sense, because you can't put 40,000 pounds worth of goods onto a plane. I mean, unless, I'm not going to say a genius, somebody imagines this and make it so. Trucking will always be needed, so the money will always be a priority. Now, seasonally it changes, but that's a good thing in trucking, that the money it typically will always be there. That's why a lot of truck drivers have sustainable lives. They're not struggling for nothing. But like I told y'all before, they don't have the time, maybe not the energy, because after 14 hours, 14 hours a long day trucking, you probably don't got that much more you could take your energy in. I want y'all to think about a pro and con, because this is something that has shaped my mindset on realizing, like, trucking ain't always about the driving aspect of it, but it's about learning all the other key components that can go into the business of trucking or the industry of trucking. And there's many pros and cons in everything. Choose yours wisely. And the name of the game is to have your business where it has more pros than it has cons, which means that on every avenue you win. I think that's everything. So listen, if y'all tune into this video, y'all jumping into trucking, y'all thinking about trucking, I just gave y'all a little bit of game from my experience, and we're going to continuously make more videos. Y'all not going to see me making a video specifically in a truck for a while, but there's so much experience to learn from the truck industry that you can take. And my grandpa always tell me, the more you learn, the more you earn. So guess what? Y'all stay tuned for more videos. I hope this can help y'all. I hope this makes sense. Not everybody get the opportunity to truck drive and then brokerage and then this and that. So like, I think it's truly a blessing, and I get to share that. So y'all stay tuned for more videos. Make sure y'all leave a comment on what y'all think, which one y'all would choose, brokerage or trucking. Would you choose the money or the time, the relationships or the isolation. It's all up to you, but y'all stay blessed. I'm gonna head out. Stay tuned for way more videos because we're gonna keep this consistent. Peace. Find who you are, live in spirit, and find peace.
Our lives are meant to be legacies for somebody else, for generations to come. And we got to continue to walk after that and do things that are courageous.